Claire, I'm sorry, but I've decided to give your seat to Emily. It'll be more fun with her, and she said she wants to make memories with us before getting married. You understand, don't you?" My hands trembled. I read the message over and over again, but the words never changed. Emily had said she was too busy with wedding preparations. So why was she suddenly able to go to Hawaii? And the words "more fun with her" pierced my heart. That morning I woke up at 6 a.m. It was my parents' 30th anniversary. The departure day of the Hawaii trip I had been planning for 3 months. As I got out of bed in my penthouse house, I thought today would finally be the day I deepened our family bond. My consulting firm was thriving, and my clients had great trust in me. It was finally time to give back to my parents. While taking a shower, I mentally reviewed the travel details. 3 first-class tickets, 2 ocean view suites at a 5-star resort on Oahu, spa reservations, a sunset dinner cruise, and a Pearl Harbor tour. Total cost, $12,000. It was a portion of my company's quarterly profits, but I considered it a small price to pay for my family's happiness. My sister Emily had recently quit her job, saying she was going to marry Logan. However, because she was busy with the wedding, this trip was planned just for my parents and me. I was looking forward to spending time alone with them for the first time in ages. While eating breakfast, I checked a message from my mother, Patricia. "I'm so excited for today. Your dad is thrilled too. It'll be a great chance to look back on 30 years of marriage." I smiled. If my parents were this happy, then all the preparations had been worth it. I considered calling Emily, but I figured she'd be busy with the wedding. In fact, when I called her 2 weeks ago, she said, "I have back-to-back meetings with the venue. Hawaii is just not possible." That's why I only invited my parents this time. I had planned to give her a honeymoon trip as a gift after the wedding. When I arrived at the airport departure lobby, no one was there. It was an hour before boarding, but we had agreed to meet early. I checked my phone, no calls, no messages. Even the family group chat was eerily quiet. A bad feeling crept into my chest. 30 minutes passed. I kept scanning the crowd, clutching my boarding pass, searching for my parents. Other passengers arrived one after another and began preparing for boarding. I felt like I was the only one being left behind. Then my phone rang. The message was from my mother. She had given my seat to Emily, saying it would be more fun with her. I immediately rushed to the airline counter. When I explained the situation to the staff, they confirmed a reservation change. At 11 p.m., the night before, under Patricia's name, my seat had been canceled, and a new passenger named Emily Bennett was added. "Do you have any record of my consent to this change?" I asked the staff. "Yes. Since the tickets were originally booked under Patricia's name, the change was made accordingly," they replied. I was stunned. It was true, my mother had said she would handle the airline reservations, and I had trusted her. I sank into a seat at the boarding gate. Around me, families were cheerfully getting ready for departure. As children's laughter echoed through the terminal, I sat alone. The words "I gave your seat to Emily, and she's more fun" kept replaying in my mind. I called Patricia, but the call didn't go through. It was the same with my father, Douglas. Emily's phone was turned off. They were probably already on another flight to Hawaii. On a trip I paid for without me. A trip I spent 3 months planning, stolen from me overnight. An announcement came over the intercom saying boarding had begun. I stood up and gazed out the window. Seat A, first class. Emily was probably sitting in the seat that was supposed to be mine, chatting happily with my parents, sipping complimentary premium champagne. While drinking coffee alone at the airport bar, I reflected on my relationship with my family. I had believed Emily when she said she was too busy with wedding preparations, so I had asked her to sit this trip out. In the end, was that all a lie? Or had the allure of a Hawaii vacation simply outweighed the need to plan a wedding? Either way, my feelings had been completely disregarded. Emily was more fun, so they took her instead of me. As if I were a backup option. I opened the message from my mother again. I gave your seat to Emily. It'll be more fun with her. After replying, understood, I stood up. As I walked toward the parking lot, I began forming a plan in my head. My family would enjoy Hawaii without me. But when they returned, the world waiting for them would be entirely different. In the parking lot, I started the car and took a deep breath. $12,000. 3 months of preparation. My gratitude toward my parents. All of it had become meaningless in an instant. But instead of anger, a cold, icy clarity took hold of me. I was certain this day would mark a turning point in my life. If things had gone as planned, this would have been the second morning of the Hawaii trip. Instead, I was in my downtown office, sipping my morning coffee and checking emails. 3 urgent requests from clients, a presentation to finalize for next week, and 1 notification from the credit card company. As I opened the final notification, my blood froze. An unusual high-value transaction has been detected. Honolulu, Hawaii, resort spa, $2,500. Approval required. I stared at the screen. A spa charge had been billed to my credit card. But I was in New York. It was my family who was in Hawaii, using my card without my permission. The family card had been issued as part of the support I provided after finding success in my business. I had set a monthly limit and given it to them for routine purchases or emergencies. But $2,500 at a spa was far beyond ordinary spending. Especially when I wasn't even on the trip. I immediately logged into the bank's online system. When I checked the transaction history from the past 48 hours, an even more shocking truth was revealed. Restaurant bill, $500. Gift shop, $500. Marine activities, $1,500. All charged to my card. All expenses I had no knowledge of. I sank deep into my chair. Not only had my family excluded me from the trip, they were living it up on my dime. As if they thought I'd gladly pay for it. Just then, a message arrived on my phone. It was from Emily. Big sis, Hawaii is amazing. Mom and I go to the spa every day. Don't worry about the money, we'll definitely pay you back. Mom says you'll understand. It's for the family, after all. My hands shook with anger. Pay me back? Emily had quit her job and was unemployed. How exactly was she planning to repay me? Then another message came from my mother. Claire, we've been using your card. Emily may be spending a little extravagantly, but she really needed this trip. It's such an important time before her wedding, and since you're successful, I know you'll understand. We're family. My mother had known they were splurging on my credit card, and she had allowed it. We're family. Those words stabbed me straight through the heart. Because we're family, it's okay to use my card for a trip I wasn't invited on? Because we're family, it's okay to exclude me? Because we're family, my feelings don't matter? At that moment, my phone rang again. This time it was Emily calling. Hey big sis, hope you're doing well. Hawaii is the best. But I have a favor to ask. I suddenly need some cash. I want to buy a bunch of souvenirs and book a marine activity for tomorrow, but they only take cash. Could you send me about $1,000 to my bank account? I was stunned. They had shut me out of the trip, and now they were still asking for my money, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Emily, aren't you all enjoying the trip without me? Why should I send you money? Because we're family. Don't be so stingy. You're rich now, sis. Besides, this is Mom and Dad's anniversary trip. Making memories costs money. Emily went on without a hint of guilt. Spending time with just Mom and Dad is so much fun. Oh, and we booked a French restaurant for dinner. It's about $150 per person. Can we use your card? Could you raise the limit for us? Something inside me snapped. They had excluded me from the trip, and yet they still felt entitled to my money. As if I were some sort of automatic payment machine. And the word spending time with just Mom and Dad is so much fun cut me to the core. I was supposed to be there. I called the credit card company. Please cancel the family card immediately. I suspect unauthorized use. The customer service representative responded promptly. Understood. The family card will be suspended right away. Next, I called the resort concierge. I needed to cancel every service booked under my name. We'll check all bookings under Ms. Bennett. That includes spa treatments, dinner cruises, and room service. Would you like all of them canceled? Yes, and from this point forward, do not accept any bookings under my name. I am currently in New York, not in Hawaii. The concierge sounded a little confused. But Ms. Bennett, your group is currently staying at the resort. They modified my bookings without permission and are misusing my credit card. I recommend reporting this to your security team. After hanging up, I stared out the window and reflected on the past. Since I found success with my consulting firm, supporting my family had become expected. And 5 years ago, I gave them the biggest gift of all. I bought a house for my parents for $650,000. A 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in a quiet suburban neighborhood. There was even a space in the garden where my mother could plant her beloved roses. Claire, thank you so much. I can't believe you gave us such a beautiful home. You're the best daughter ever. Even my father, usually stoic, had shown emotion. My daughter, I will never forget this for as long as I live. You are the pride of this family. Were those words a lie? The pride of the family? A debt never to be forgotten? Then, I made a call. This is the Nathan Carter Law Office. Hello, this is Claire Bennett. I'd like to discuss selling a property. Of course. Which property is it? It's a house under my name. My family currently lives there, but I'm considering selling it. I could hear the sound of typing on the other end. Understood. Would you be available tomorrow morning for a more detailed consultation? Yes. I want to proceed as soon as possible. Certainly. How about 10 a.m. tomorrow? After hanging up, I went home. I took out a stack of legal documents. The house purchase agreement, the deed, all were in my name. There was no legal issue. I had bought the property. I owned it. I was simply selling what was rightfully mine. The next morning, I was at Nathan Carter's office reviewing the sale details. This area is expected to be rezoned for commercial development next year, Nathan explained. We anticipate a 20% increase in market value. I nodded. How long would the sale take? If priced appropriately, about 2 to 3 weeks. I believe we can find multiple cash buyers. Am I obligated to notify my family in advance? Nathan shook his head. Legally, no. You are the sole owner of the property. However, a 30-day notice for vacating the premises is standard. I signed the documents. Begin the process today. Move forward as quickly as possible. The next morning, I got a frantic call from Emily. Claire, there's been some kind of mistake. My card was declined at the restaurant. It was so humiliating. Please call them and fix this. I replied calmly. It's not a mistake. I canceled the card. What? But we're family. This is such an important trip. If we're family, then why didn't you ask if I wanted to come? If we're family, why did you exclude me from the trip? Emily was silent. I heard Patricia's voice in the background. What's going on? Why can't we use the card? That's your problem now, I said. I'm not your wallet anymore. After ending the call, I took a deep breath. For the first time, I set a boundary for myself. For the first time, I said no. And strangely, I didn't feel any guilt. If anything, I felt a sense of liberation. My relationship with my family had completely changed tonight. I was no longer the one being used. And starting tomorrow, my life would belong to me and only me. The day before my family was due to return from Hawaii, I completed the final preparations. A phone call from Michael, the real estate agent, confirmed that everything was proceeding smoothly. Claire, great news. A buyer has made a cash offer. Thanks to the area's development plans, things are moving even faster than expected. The house I had bought for my parents 5 years ago had cost $650,000. But this time, the sale price was $780,000. The market value had risen, and the timing was perfect in both speed and price. When can I sign the contract? I asked. We'll have a signing ceremony tomorrow at 10 a.m. with a notary present. The ownership transfer will be completed by 2 p.m. at 9 a.m. The next morning, I arrived at the notary's office. The buyer was a local developer who said they planned to begin construction as early as next month. Just as I was finishing the signing, my phone rang. It was a call from my father. Claire, we just got home and there's some mail here. It says eviction notice. Says we have to vacate the house within 30 days. Do you know anything about this? I checked the time. 10:15 a.m. It looked like they had returned earlier than scheduled. "Dad, there's something I need to talk to you about. I'll meet you at the house." "What is this about? What's going on?" "I'll explain everything in person. Let's meet in an hour." At 11:30 a.m., I parked my car in front of the house. When I arrived, all three of them were waiting, still holding their suitcases, confused with the letter in hand. "Welcome back. How was Hawaii? I'm sure the three of you had a great time." Emily was the first to speak. "Big sis, you're finally here. What is this letter? Is there some kind of problem?" "There's no problem. It's just that this house no longer belongs to us." My mother stepped forward. "What are you talking about? Of course this is our house. We live here." I pulled out a copy of the sale agreement. "Please take a look at this. The ownership transfer was completed yesterday at 2 p.m. This house now belongs to the new owners." All three were speechless. My father took the papers and began reading through them. "Is this real?" His voice trembled. "Yes, it's completely legal. The house was in my name, so I had the right to sell it." Emily's eyes welled up with tears. "But what about our belongings? I'm getting ready for the wedding." "The new owners will begin renovations next month, so you'll need to move everything out within 30 days. Until then, you can still enter the house. As for the wedding preparations, you'll need to make them somewhere else." My mother's face turned red. "This is cruel. We're family. Why would you do something like this? Over a small misunderstanding in Hawaii?" "A small misunderstanding?" I answered calmly. "You excluded me from the trip and used my credit card without permission. And you lied about being busy with wedding preparations just to take my seat?" Emily rushed to explain. "I really was busy with wedding planning. But suddenly I had some free time. And time with our parents is important too." "So time with me wasn't important? I planned and paid for the trip, only to be excluded, and you had a great time as a trio? Is that how you show appreciation?" I pulled a bank statement from my handbag. "This is a record of my financial support over the past year. I paid for home maintenance, property taxes, utilities, about $15,000 annually." I showed them the statement. "I've supported this family with about $50,000 over the past 5 years. And instead of being thanked, I was excluded because I wasn't fun." My father finally spoke. "Claire, it's true we may have relied on you too much. But we're family. We should be able to work this out by talking." He continued. "We love you. You're our successful daughter, and we're proud of you. But Emily is about to get married, and we thought this trip would be our last time together as a family. Love, is using my success love? Is excluding me from the trip love? And why wasn't I included in that last family time with Emily?" Emily spoke in a trembling voice. "Big sis, I never meant to hurt you. I cut her off. Mom made it very clear. She said, Emily is more fun." At that moment, the new owner's car pulled up. A young couple stepped out and greeted me. "Ms. Bennett, thank you again. We'd like to take a look inside to begin our renovation planning." I turned and looked at my family. "Please have everything moved out within 30 days. After that, this will no longer be your home, it will be someone else's property." My family stood frozen in shock. After living rent-free for 5 years and receiving financial support, they were finally forced to face reality. Emily would now have to restart her wedding preparations in a new home. As I walked back to my car, I felt no regret. Instead, I felt light, as if a burden I had carried for years had finally lifted. I could hear the sound of a new life beginning. 2 weeks had passed since my final conversation with my family. They had tried to contact me multiple times, but I ignored every message. While drinking my morning coffee in my new apartment's living room, I read a new message on my phone. It was from Emily. "Big sis, I really need to talk. Can we meet today? Please." It was her 5th message. But this time, something felt different. It no longer had that demanding tone. It sounded like a plea. At 2 p.m., I was waiting in a cafe downtown. When Emily arrived, I was surprised by how much she had changed. The flashy makeup was gone, and her hair was simply tied back. She wore inexpensive fast fashion, looking like a completely different person. "Big sis," she said as she sat down. "Thank you for meeting with me." I said nothing and just looked at her. The truth is, Logan and I broke up. Her eyes filled with tears. No, actually, he dumped me. I raised an eyebrow. "What happened?" "Everything fell apart," she said, voice trembling. "After you canceled the credit card, we were really struggling in Hawaii. But that wasn't the biggest problem." "What do you mean?" "The wedding preparations. That was actually a lie." Emily held her coffee cup with shaking hands. My relationship with Logan had already started to fall apart before the trip. I was stunned. "What do you mean by that?" To be honest, I was seeing other people. A few. Logan wasn't enough for me, and I went on casual dates with other guys. But just before the Hawaii trip, he found out. Her voice wavered. Logan was furious. We had a huge fight the day before heading to the airport, and he said, "It's over," then walked out. But I was too proud to admit it, so I snapped back, "Fine, I'll go to Hawaii alone." That's when I lied and said I suddenly had free time and took your seat. I was speechless. While I was in Hawaii, I told Mom and Dad that Logan had an urgent matter and couldn't help with the wedding plans. But in reality, he was going through my social media and messages while I was away, collecting evidence of my cheating. He even contacted my friends to confirm I'd been seeing other men. Emily wiped her tears. "Right after we got back from Hawaii, while we were arguing with you about the card, Logan sent me a long message. It had the names of all the guys I cheated with, photos of us on dates, screenshots of messages, everything organized. And at the end he wrote, 'You're the worst woman I've ever known. Don't ever contact me again.'" I said nothing. It was a truth uglier and more complicated than I had expected. "Claire, I was really stupid. The whole thing about getting married, quitting my job, it was all selfish. And I depended on your money without showing any gratitude or respect. I was a terrible sister." Emily sniffled. "And now we're really struggling. Dad, Mom, and I are all living together in a tiny one-bedroom apartment. The rent is only $800, but even that's hard to cover." I was surprised. "All 3 of you?" "Yes. After you sold the house, we had nowhere to go. Dad can't afford his medication, and Mom, even though she's nearly 70, started working part-time at a convenience store. I'm working at a fast food place too, but it's nowhere near enough to support the three of us. Emily's voice trembled. Every night, Dad says, "Let's go apologize to Claire." And Mom says, "She's family, she'll forgive us." But I was too scared to reach out. I remained silent for a long time. It was likely true that they were struggling. But it was the result of the choices they made themselves. "Emily, I accept your apology, but our relationship will never return to what it was." "What do you mean?" "I'm no longer the person who solves your problems. You're 25 years old. Please tell Dad and Mom they need to take responsibility for their own lives." Tears filled Emily's eyes. "But we're family. We're blood. Dad can't even pay for his medicine. Mom's on her feet all day, even with her bad knees. Please, just help us a little." I quietly shook my head. Blood doesn't guarantee love. It doesn't guarantee respect. I was used by all of you for years. That wasn't family love. I stood up. "Emily, you can learn from this experience. Learn to be independent. Learn not to rely on others. And learn not to exploit people." "Claire, I'll change. I swear I'll really change. Just give me one more chance." "You've already had more than one chance. It's over." As I walked out of the cafe, I felt a strange peace. I felt no anger. No hatred. Only the relief that a long chapter had finally closed. That night, when I returned to my apartment, there were 3 messages on my voicemail. All from my father. "Claire, it's your father. Emily told me everything. We're really in trouble. I'm swallowing my pride to ask you. Please give us one more chance as family." Second message, my daughter. "I can't afford my medication. I can't even go to the doctor. I'm proud of everything you've achieved. That's why I'm asking for help." Third message, "Claire, this is the last time. We hurt you, but we're family. Blood is thicker than water. Please forgive us." I deleted the messages. The next day, I received a long letter from my mother. "To my beloved daughter. We were wrong. Now we finally understand how hard you worked for us. Your father has no medication, my knees are in pain, and we're ashamed of how much we relied on you. Please, just one more time, accept us as family." When I finished reading the letter, I threw it in the trash. Even after that, they continued to reach out 2 or 3 times a week. Calls, emails, sometimes even showing up at my office. But I never responded. I gave security their names and instructed them not to let any of them in. 3 months later, I received one final message from Emily. "Big sis, I won't contact you again. We'll try to survive on our own somehow. But I'm truly sorry. I hope you find happiness." I deleted that message too. And I felt no guilt. It was true that they were struggling. But I was no longer their safety net. They needed to learn, for the first time, what it meant to be truly independent. That night, I had dinner on the balcony of my apartment. No phone notifications. No emergency calls from my family. Just time that belonged to me. The following week, I finalized my trip to Iceland. A solo 2-week journey to see the Northern Lights. It had been a dream since my student days, always postponed for family obligations. But this time was different. This time it was a trip paid for by me, scheduled by me, and meant only for me. The travel agent said, "A solo trip? That's very brave of you." "No," I replied with a smile. "This isn't bravery. This is freedom." On the way home that day, I caught a glimpse of myself in a shop window and stopped. Then I said aloud, "I'm no longer anyone's safety net. I'm not someone's plan B. I'm not anyone's bank. I am me, and for the first time that is enough." Then it began to rain. But my heart was clear. For the first time in 30 years, I truly belonged to myself. And that feeling was more satisfying than any success I had ever known. A new life had begun. For the first time it was truly my own.